Shalom, shalom, sisters on YouTube. This is Sister T, and welcome again to the Rock. So today I was coming to you to talk about the topic that I was thinking of as I was working. And right now, what you're looking at is a pile of wood that the children and I have gathered here to be moved to our woodshed and also to be used to be burned. Now, this may not look like a big deal and it doesn't look important, but in the lifestyle that we live, this wood you see stacked here, I don't know how well you can see it. There's long pieces, there's small pieces, all sizes matter. And we have wood piles everywhere that we've been stacking as we've been working. And these things look like something very small. It don't look like anything big. You're like, what's so important about wood? Well, in our family, having this wood is the reason why we stay warm in the winter. And having this wood is the reason why we don't have a gas bill and we don't have to pay for gas, because we use our outside stove to cook our food and to heat our home. And this is how we stay warm. And this is how our food get cooked. And yeah, we're right now at the time we use a little propane as well. We can afford propane, but by using this save our master the cost and the money to not keep spending on propane when we can also use this. Most of our oven cooking, we don't have an inside oven. We cook outside, and we have an oven that our master built for us, where we do all of our baking if we need to bake, and it bakes anything in there, and it works just perfectly fine. And you know what, if by chance it was to fall apart and by chance anything was to happen to it, we can replace it with what we have right here on our property, on our land. So we don't have to go spend tremendous amount of money buying things, nor do we have to spend a tremendous cost in the system, paying it to the system, so we can stay warm, or we can eat and pay this large bill, especially in the times that we're in. Now, why do I mention this? Is because I was thinking as I was working out here, I am getting leaves currently for our gardens, because our gardens also need a covering, sisters. And if anybody been watching this channel long enough, my master talk about having a covering a lot. And it's not just people who need a covering, but even the very food you eat need a covering, in order to grow properly, in order not to deplete the moisture from the soil that it needs to grow. So as I was raking these leaves, I was thinking about covering, and I was thinking about how important the covering is. And when you do not have a covering in the time of trouble, how things will be exposed. And as I was thinking about our gardens as well this past year, we didn't cover them as much as we have did prior years, and we saw how our some of our plants suffered because they weren't covered. And we just went through a drought, and in this drought it exposed the problem, why our vegetables were dying a lot sooner, why they didn't last as long, because they weren't covered. And when they weren't covered, and we went through this drought season, which was trials and tribulations for the garden, so to speak, we then the lack of covering was exposed. Or we saw the damage our plants had to suffer by not being covered. I'm sorry. As I'm raking over here, this spider started trying to climb on me. But anyways, so the point of this video, and I was thinking about it as I was raking, and I'm thinking about how many things were exposed, or how many things have been exposed since this COVID-19 situation started. How many women have been exposed, and how many women have seen their lack of having a covering as causing them to suffer. Because before, when times were in the green and things were good, you weren't exposed. You looked like everything was going well for you, right? You had jobs, you were making your own money, you had your home. If you needed something, the welfare system gave it to those who used it. But now that this COVID situation happened, lockdowns are happening, people are losing their jobs. And then when they work now, People are scared. Some people are scared to work because look at all the sicknesses and different diseases and things that are arising. There's COVID-19, then there's the monkeypox, then there's the N1H1. I mean, there's all sorts of things out there that you have to now worry about that you didn't have to worry about before. And the worry of, if I get exposed to that, I have to expose my children to it now, or I'm exposed to that, and then that's going to keep me from being able to work like I need to. Look at everything that has come from this situation since 2020. Crime. I mean, I read the news a lot. My master likes reading news articles, and I enjoy reading them as well. So when I have time and I'm reading them, and we have family time and we're talking, I'll bring up articles and stuff that I've read, sharing it with my master. And 9 times out of 10, he already read them. He's ahead of the game. He's always on top of these things. But I read them too. So I love bringing them to him. And like, I am surprised, and I am like, I can't believe how much crime has risen. And you women, you sisters, you're still out there uncovered. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is because we just recently had a sister talk to us, but it's not just one sister. Several sisters talked to me and my sisters who are currently working right now, prepare for Shabbat. But um, me and my sisters, we get calls. People call us like, oh, they like hearing advice from us. Like, okay, well, how did y'all do it? And what am I supposed to do? And I don't have a husband and stuff. And then people seek out, do you know of anyone who will cover us and stuff like that? And the thing is, these are some of the same sisters who wanted their independence, and they didn't want to have a covering. And if they did, they wanted a covering the way they wanted it. They wanted to make sure their covering was them having a covering to them and them alone. They didn't want to have to, what they call, share a covering with someone else. But you know what? Since these times, a lot of women are being exposed. People are living out of their cars. We have people calling us, living out of their cars, living from trailer to trailer, at different people's houses, or even at the little trailer places you can go, RV parks, that's what it's called, RV parks and stuff, because they have nowhere to lay their head because they don't have a covering. And now this job that was paying them that money, that gave them their independence, now they don't have these jobs. And when these jobs are gone, they are being exposed. When this COVID situation happened and people have to stay home, they're being exposed. When things are happening with their children, or they don't have enough money now to pay for childcare and daycare, so they can't do the things they need to do, they are now being exposed. And I honestly have been saddened by this situation. I was listening to one of the women talking to us about her situation, and I was reading some comments that I've seen with women living in their cars and stuff, and it brought me dang near to tears, because I remember being that person trying to make it. And I've told this story before. This is how I come to accept polygyny to begin with, because I remembered being that person, that woman who was single, and I was exposed. I had a job, yes, and I was trying to work and take care of a child, and I was trying to do all these things, and I was doing it by myself. And I know how hard it was. It was hard then, before all this stuff happened. This is way back in 2008, 2007, and 2006 and stuff like that, where I was struggling. And even with the job and the money I had, it seemed like as soon as I got money, the money was gone, because by the time you pay your rent and you pay your bills, you have nothing. You have nothing to show for what you have. And the sacrifices I had to make were crazy. Waking up 4 o'clock in the morning just so I can make it to work, just so I can get the child to a babysitter. So I know how tough it is, and I can only imagine how much more tougher it is nowadays. Now when things are this much harder, where there's more trying times. And at this time, there was food on the shelf, so I was able to go to the store and buy food. So now how is it when, we see that the prices are rising, or certain things are leaving off the shelves in the grocery store? Now what? So now people are being exposed, but who's been exposed the most are women, because women who aren't covered, they can't carry themselves the same way men can. And men are being exposed, but we're here to talk about women. Women are being exposed, single women. And now it's getting so bad that single women are calling other brethren to ask, can I have some money to help with my family? This trial has fallen me. That tribulation has fallen on me. And and one of the things that's so sad is that a lot of times all you have to do is humble yourself and get covered. And that will help solve some of these issues that you are dealing with. Um, it's sad to me that some women want to wait until the literally until you have nothing, until you have absolutely nothing, and you're going to go begging a brother to take you in, or begging a brother to wife you, or begging a brother to concubine you, and you're going to wait till you have nothing to offer to anyone. And that is sad. That's not the time you want to wait. That's not the time you want to wait for. You don't want to wait to be where you have nothing. See, right now, it's already late. But there are still brethren still out there saying, oh, I'll cover another woman. I'll cover another woman. But you have to be able to offer something. And if you don't have, let's say, if you're not blessed with certain fortunes, you got to be able to come where you, even if you can offer all of you, all of yourself, all of your sacrifice, all of your hard work that you're willing to put in, you have to offer something. It's getting so bad at this point that when you come, if you keep waiting, there's not even going to be jobs out there. So you can't even offer a brother like, hey, I will work. Like it says in Isaiah 4:1, the people are going to say, the women are going to say, I'll get my own food and I'll take care of my own clothes. Well, how are you going to do all these things if you're just waiting? Why would you wait to that last dying moment, where you are forced to be in a situation you really don't want to be in? And so I'm just thinking about this as I'm working, getting this covered. And right now I've collected this wood out here, and I'm gonna take it back. So my sister, who is cooking right now, cooking on our outside wood stove, she needs wood. So we're gonna take wood over there, and then we also need some of this wood to chop up for the winter, and we're gonna have it over there. Not all today, but it will be over there, so we can have wood for the winter, so our family don't have to suffer. And see, right now is the time where you have to use whatever you have to be a helping hand. And if you wait till the last minute, you're not going to have anything. You're not going to have no finances to offer. You're not going to have yourself to offer, because you're going to be so broken down, so tore up out there, that when you come to the man, only thing he's going to see is liability, liability, liability. And so at the time that these men are saying, my doors are open, I'm willing to take another wife, or a concubine, whatever it is that they're saying, we need to stop being so stiff-necked, and we need to get moving. You got to move, because it is sad when you have to call a brother and say, well, I don't have anything. Can you offer me some money? Because you know what the brethren, a lot of them at least, are thinking. So why aren't you covered? Don't you hear the call? The call is everywhere. You have sisters talking about it. You have lots of watchmen and brethren talking about it. People who've been on this channel, my masters have been talking about it for years now. And if you wait and you wait and you wait, again, they're gonna see liability. They're not gonna see an area. You're gonna say, well, I'm a hard worker. I'll clean your kitchen. Most of these men don't need nobody to clean their kitchen. Guess what? I clean the kitchen. My sister cleaned the kitchen. My other sister cleaned the kitchen. We don't need no more kitchen cleaners, really. Or I'll keep up the bathroom. We don't need nobody to keep up the bathroom, because we got the bathroom. Our children are at the age that they keep up the bathroom. So the man's gonna say, well, what do you have to offer? Well, I offer sexual, sex or whatever. Well, when the man already has one ishot, two ishot, or whatever, they have that if they want it. We gotta start thinking about these things. Oh, well, I'll help work on the land. Well, yeah, that helps, but at the end, when we are in difficult times, at that time, they're not going to necessarily need your help to work on your land, because your work on the land is not going to make up for the food that you're going to consume, and the food that you're going to need, and the care that you're going to need mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. It's not going to cover all of that. Right now we're doing land work now, so we'll be covered now. We're trying to do these things right now. And even us who are covered, my master in particular, he don't tolerate even us to just feel comfortable in the way we are, just because we are covered. He's like, you got to remain covered. You're not going to sit here and just think you're covered and then get lackadaisical and just think that I'm just going to do everything, or think that I'm not going to check it, because he'll check it in a minute, you know. So for someone who's out there, and you want to wait till the last minute, if the man have to choose between feeding you, taken from a member of their family now to feed you, what do you think he's going to do when you offer nothing? So that's why it's so important. While these men are saying they need an Isha now, that means there's still room for you. That means that there's still a place in his home that needs to be filled. There's still a spot. There's still something that he needs done that you may be able to offer. And you want to get there now so you can fill that spot, whatever it is that he may need. And that way, when these hard times come upon us, even harder than they are now, and when it comes time to who's eat, he's going to say, you're a benefit to me because I needed someone to fill this position. You came along, you filled the position, you helped my other Isha, my first Isha. Our children were now, had more helping hands. We were able to progress further now, not because of you alone, but because you came and filled a role and took some weight off of my Isha over here. You took some weight off of my children. As a family, we grew this, we built this, we did this, and now you are part of the family. But if you come dragging in last minute, at the end of the day, if someone has to lack, he's going to look and say, or, it's going to be looked at and say, well, what did you do? You just got here. You just got here. You ain't offered anything. And you've been knowing all this time that you needed a covering, that you needed you needed a covering, and that you're going to need to offer something. Don't buy into this take care of me attitude and stuff. My master has been very kind, and for a long time now I've been able to be home. But before I was able to be home, I also had to work as well. I didn't just get to sit down. I had to add, at some point I worked, and then when I'm at home on the land, we still have work to do. Like I said, we got piles of wood. If you look all over everywhere, this is work. On this land, carrying all this wood from one location to the next, getting them chopped, or you breaking them up so we can burn them to cook food, or using it for our wood burning stove. This stuff, it takes a lot of work. These leaves that I'm raking right now, that I was just showing you, carrying bins and bins of leaves to get to our garden is a lot of work. They're heavy. And I get tired after making so many trips because I have to make a lot of trips. But you know what? That's the sacrifice that has to be made so that our gardens have what it's need. Because you know what? I want to eat from them gardens. So I have to put into them. I want to put into them because I want to eat from them. And so my master's not sitting here and going to do all the work himself, and then I'm just going to sit there and expect to eat. If I expect to eat, I better work. And if you expect to eat, you better work. So, sisters, if you're still out there and you worried about this covering thing, get over whatever pride, whatever situation you got now, and start asking some questions. Start seeking out where you can be covered, who can cover you, and start making sure that you have something to offer someone so you will be valuable to them in some sort of way. You have to do it now, because if you don't move now, it's going to be too late. And it's very hard for people to feel sorry if you continue to wait and 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 do nothing, It's like I told you before. That's the reason I was happy for my master to cover another sister, because I was thinking about, what if that was me? Because I was just out there, and very easily y'all could have left me out there, and he could have had somebody else that probably would have been better than me. You know what I mean? And I could have been out there being the one suffering. So I'm very glad he didn't do it. So who am I to not want my master to cover someone else, want another person to suffer, because I could have been out there suffering. Likewise, you got to do something, though, because if you don't do something, you will be suffering. Sisters, I hope this video was helpful. I got to get back to work. I didn't intend for this video to be this long, but I was just sharing what was on my mind based on the sisters we've been talking to and just thinking about these situations and reading these news and things. Sisters, we got to get covered. Stop waiting. Don't wait a day longer if you don't have to. Please, please start doing something about your situations. All right. Bless y'all. Shalom.